for you. I'm Roy Wood Jr. In the news this week. Stephen Miller and Marco Rubio await Trump's return from Great Britain. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 6 premieres. On Amber's team tonight, he's a former Republican congressman from Illinois, but now he lives on a farm upstate where he frolics with all the other retired politicians, or at least that's what my parents told me. It's Adam Kinzinger. And joining Michael, she's a comedian, actress, and host of the podcast Fake the Nation, which is the kind of podcast that people actually listen to, not the one that your weird neighbor makes in the basement. It's Negin Farsad. Now for the biggest stories of the week. Adam, Amber,
Hi.
I will show you video clips, and you tell me what is the story.
Simple. Bald man, this little lady is pointing because she's mad at the FCC.
Yeah.
And you got
Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel. This is about Jimmy Kimmel getting snatched off the air.
Oh, yeah, points. You already know what the hell that was. Yeah. The story is Jimmy Kimmel, free speech, cancel culture, and if you want to talk about what's going on, but you also want to keep your job, here's some advice.
Shut up! Shut the fuck! You're all right to take. Shut up! Will you shut up? Shut up! Shut up!
Does anyone know why ABC decided to shelve Jimmy Kimmel's show indefinitely?
Because they're cowards?
Hang on. Oh, my God, it's the FCC. Hang on.
Uh-oh.
Understood. New question. Why did awful liberal Jimmy Kimmel get what he deserved? What was it that Kimmel supposedly did that got him in trouble?
Ultimately, what happened is Donald Trump got his feelings hurt. And when he gets his feelings hurt, he now uses the government to get his way. His FCC commissioner made it clear that he's going to do his bidding. And all the other late night hosts are next, according to them as
Adam,
well.
No.
we're trying to stay on the air over here.
Let's just look at the thing that offensive, disrespectful, liberal Jimmy Kimmel did.
Yeah.
Let's look at the offensive thing Kimmel said.
You're gonna be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill him.
My bad. That was the wrong clip. That was Brian Kill Me talking about killing homeless people.
And he's still employed.
Yeah. Can we play the actual Kimmel clip? Play the actual Kimmel clip.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Was that clip offensive? And remember, no matter how you answer, you will be fired. Things escalated quickly from there. Let's go through the timeline of what went down over the week. On Wednesday, does anyone know what happened earlier in the day on Wednesday before the Kimmel suspension came down the pipeline?
A podcast Brendan Carr was on, and he kind of did a little be ashamed if something happened to your little nightly show there or your little network. And so, yeah, he basically was implying, gosh, ABC better take care of this, because I'd hate to use the power of the government against them.
Points for Team Amber. Hours before Kimmel's show was put on pause, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr was on a right-wing podcast and had this to say.
I think that it's really sort of past time that a lot of these licensed broadcasters themselves push back on Comcast and Disney and say, listen, we are going to preempt. We are not going to run Kimmel anymore until you straighten this out. But I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Is this the easy way? They're doing it right now?
He's saying if you don't straighten this out, and it's unclear what this is that he's referring to, the government will violate your First Amendment and pull you off the air. He didn't say it in those words because that would be unconstitutional. But that's what happened, and that's the result.
The FCC is in the licensing business because you don't want two shows on the same spectrum in the same town. It's not about content control, and it's not about taking away your First Amendment right.
Right after Carr said that, Nexstar, a company that owns a lot of the ABC affiliate stations, said that they were preempting Jimmy Kimmel Live immediately because of his comments on Charlie Kirk, and that, quote, continuing to give Mr. Kimmel a broadcast platform in the communities we serve is simply not in the public interest at the current time. At which Carr, from the podcast earlier, then tweeted, I want to thank Nexstar for doing the right thing. Jeez, even the Sopranos are more subtle when they bribe people. There was one free speech warrior in the midst of all of this who stood up for Kimmel by tweeting this online. They said, quote, political satire is one of the oldest and most important forms of free speech. That's why people in influential positions have always targeted it for censorship.
Are you trying to trick us? Is it someone who's really bad?
You'd think it would be somebody who hadn't yanked Jimmy Kimmel off the air.
But
in fact, it's Brendan Carr.
Points over there, yes. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr, back in 2022, said that. Now look, guys, I'm starting to feel like there's some hypocrisy going on.
But has someone shown him this tweet? Maybe this whole thing is just a giant misunderstanding.
I know Brendan Carr. I served on the committee that oversaw the FCC, so I knew him in his time there, and I will say this about him. He really wants to be liked and popular, and I think he found his way to do it in a certain community.
Ever since you left politics, you talk mad shit, and I like it.
I'm out of prison. It's great.
You about to be back in, though.
I know. It feels like it.
What's Ted Cruz like?
You worked as a Republican in this White House. Is there a way to be liked as a Republican without dirty knees?
I'll say this, look, one of my good friends was John McCain, and people got to like him because they knew people want to know that when you're doing something, you're doing it because you actually really believe it. I think people respect that. What they don't respect is how the Republican Party has gone from a party that believed in X and now, however many years later, the exact opposite of that. For example, constantly suing people all the time, and the Republican Party used to be against frivolous lawsuits.
So how did ABC react to the news that a major affiliate group was going to be preempting one of their more popular programs?
They got together and said, yeah, we're not going to say or do shit.
According to Rolling Stone, ABC, Disney, and affiliates held emergency meetings, and multiple execs felt that Kimmel had not actually said anything over the line, but the threat of Trump retaliation loomed, or as one ABC insider put it, they were pissing themselves all day.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would watch that show. Now, ultimately, ABC did decide to pull Kimmel's show. Does anyone know how Brendan Carr responded when CNN Brian Seltzer reached out for comment afterwards?
It was a celebratory response, not a professional response you would expect from an FCC chairman.
Seltzer from CNN said on X, quote, I asked FCC Chairman Brendan Carr if he had any new comment now that ABC has pulled Jimmy Kimmel's show, and he sent me this GIF. So I don't understand why he would use that graphic to celebrate an ABC show being taken off the air. The Office is an NBC show. If he wanted to respond with an ABC show, this is what he should have sent. Sinclair Broadcast Group also voiced their displeasure. What did Sinclair ask for from Kimmel if he wants to be back on their airwaves?
He had to apologize and donate money to TPUSA, a political organization of which Jimmy
Well, we should
Kimmel...
be clear, it's Charlie Kirk's political organization. Correct. It's not just some random organization.
Yeah, it's for you.
Understood. I'm sorry.
Sinclair issued a statement on Wednesday saying, quote, suspension is not enough, and calling on Kimmel to issue a direct apology to the Kirk family. Furthermore, we asked Mr. Kimmel to make a meaningful personal donation to the Kirk family and Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's conservative advocacy group. They also want Jimmy Kimmel to bring back mean tweets, because that was a good bit. Here's the president in England on Thursday.
Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you know, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent.
Can I ask a question? Why is it, ladies, that you can put foundation so much on your face and completely not blend it into everything here and back? Isn't there a way to at least do some kind of a transition so that it doesn't look like? I keep looking at that, I'm like, is nobody telling him? Like, doesn't he care?
Adam, you know what we should do is send him some TikTok tutorials. Because that's what.
I love those.
Yeah, right?
He
And
can
I
have a
think he could
smoky
really
eye
use-
by Thursday.
By the time he fires Roy Wood from his job.
Yay.
Either the president think I'm Kenan Thompson. He don't know who I am. I'm safe, baby. So the president says that Jimmy Kimmel has no talent. And to be fair to President Trump, if anybody knows talent, that's a man who knows talent.
Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living is the life for me. Land spreading out so far and wide. Keep Manhattan, just give me that countryside.
That's how you connect with rural voters right there. Get on TV with a pitchfork. And in case there was any confusion to the Kimmel thing, the president added even more clarity to the situation a little later on.
All they do is hit Trump. They're not allowed to do that. They're an arm of the Democrat Party.
But do you all think that's true? Do y'all think late night shows only create a place for liberal dialogue? Amber, you be over there with Seth Meyers sometimes. Is 30 Rock just a big ass liberal building?
Yeah.
Now, look, I'm just a acting school dropout and a former Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Okay.
But it seems to me that's exactly what the First Amendment says you can do. You can say whatever you want.
You can argue this 15 years ago that maybe conservatives didn't have enough voice on the media. Are you kidding me? You look at a certain 24-hour news channel, you look at all these podcasts, the conservatives have as much of a voice as anybody has ever had at any point in history, but they feed on this idea that they're always oppressed. And there is nobody that's better at being a victim than the president himself. The most powerful man in the world is a victim of everything and everybody. And it's exhausting.
Well, if you went bald and had to get a hair transplant, you might be upset too.
Yeah.
So far, the president has targeted CBS, the Wall Street Journal, ABC, and the New York Times. Question to the panel, do you think this is all part of an overall strategy?
Yeah.
No duh, Roy, no duh.
You think that just because he's filed a bunch of lawsuits trying to silence media organizations and police who they have on the air based on their opinion, that there's an overall strategy to suppress the media?
Well, this is the point, is all of this is about intimidation. Not a single one of the lawsuits that Donald Trump would ever bring would ever win. But you intimidate, you threaten corporations, and it's the same with individuals when he threatens jail with individuals or he threatens an investigation. Now they have to defend themselves against spurious charges, and that in and of itself is the intimidation.
As a comedian who's gotten like very many death threats and stuff like that, I would say, go back to that. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, instead of carting people off and firing them and whatever, go back to the garden variety, like, digital hate mail.
Well, at least you know people are thinking about you.
In many ways, it's flattering.
What conservative came out on Friday to voice their concerns about the Kimmel situation?
It was one Theodore Rafael Cruz of Texas.
Yes, it was Texas senator and vacation enthusiast during snowstorms. Ted Cruz. On his podcast, Verdict, Ted Cruz had this to say about Brendan Carr's threats towards Jimmy Kimmel.
No, 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 no. Look, I like Brendan Carr. He's a good guy. He's the chairman of the FCC. I work closely with him. But what he said there is dangerous as hell.
You got to hand it to Ted Cruz right there. Now, you got to take it right back immediately because it's Ted Cruz. But you got to hand it to Ted Cruz on that one. That's one of them retweets. You're like, these are just the latest skirmishes in the battle over free speech, and that conversation has been at the forefront, of course, since Charlie Kirk's assassination. But the reason why Nexstar might be kissing up to the FCC is because Nexstar is trying to get approval for a big merger. Its $6.2 billion proposed acquisition of Tegna would create a mega company that would reach 80% of television households in the United States. Follow-up question.
Have I ever heard of Tegna? No. I've never heard of Nexstar. I've never heard of Tegna. How are these like the most important companies in the country? I've never heard of them.
Because the country is run by silent corporations who live in the shadows and don't want you to know that they're there and actually influencing all of the laws and making everything terrible. I'm sorry, I'm the host. I'm not supposed to have an opinion.
Does anyone watch TV at home anymore? Like maybe the silver lining is TV's dying anyway?
Sorry.
I didn't mean.
It's not dying. You're doing the right thing. Stay seated. More Have I Got News for You is coming right up.
I just think if the FCC allows that to go through, man, then we can just say the FCC stands for fucking clown car.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Oh, shit. Hang on, this Brendan Carr. Hey, hey. Okay, yes. Apparently, FCC stands for fine, cool, and collected. Laugh! Fucking laugh.
The thing that's, I think, is tough is right now, all of media is going through this kind of massive reconfiguration, all these consolidations, everything else. And right now, if for that, this is the absolute wrong administration to have at this specific time in media, because it's not even about, will they allow monopolies or will they not? It's about, are they going to profit? There is so much, hands in the pot that are getting paid out of some of this stuff. And so for them to just threaten them is absolutely unreal, and it's frightening because we're going to end up coming out of this administration with the damage that's being done anyway, but on top of that, these mega companies that will be tough to compete against.
And despite everything, hate speech is still allowed in this country, or as one person eloquently put it,
you should be allowed to say outrageous things. You should be allowed to say contrarian things.
We'll be right back.